Hi everyone, this is Evan from the Sustainable Seed Systems Lab. Today I'm going to walk you through the process for creating QR code sheets or QR code labels that can be used to organize and track samples using a QR barcode scanner. This is really helpful for reducing error when inputting sample information in the various steps of a process. And so let's just get right into it. So what you're going to want to do is navigate to the discovery environment within Cyberse. You can do that using the URL up here. And what I'm going to do is log into this with our lab's login information. Once we're in the discovery environment, what I first want to do is, using the data tab over here, go into our labs folder, and we have a QR folder to help organize these various tasks. And I went ahead and created a folder for this particular example. And we can navigate to that using the iCommands so that we can upload the CSV file that we're going to create directly to this folder. So that's what you're going to want to do first, is get yourself set up and organized for the project. Here I'll walk you through an example for an Australian seed lot. This is an email I got from the collaborator. I'm just going to go ahead and download the packing list that they sent with the information that we're going to use to create the CSV file for this project. So now I'll go into the downloads folder and open up that workbook. Within this workbook, we have the field plan and the field book, and I'm just going to go ahead and save this as a new file, and it's going to be a working document for this particular seed lot. I'm on the Ubuntu machine in our lab. It's going to ask how we want to save it. Then I'll just delete the field plan sheet because we won't need it. And our collaborator was nice enough to mention that they've sent 406 seed packets with 15 missing plots. So now what I want to do is figure out which ones are missing, is sort the sheet by column O, which has the package seed for the USA in grams. And then we're going to go ahead and sort. Down at the bottom, we can see that we have 15 packets with no seed weights provided. I'm going to remove those because since they're not in the shipment, I don't want to create any QR labels for them because that might be confusing later on. Now I'm going to create a new sheet, and this will ultimately be saved as our CSV file. I'll start by populating the columns, which I'll use to organize these labels. I'm choosing site year, genotype, ID, and then file name, which will be embedded in the QR code. Our site year is 19KA in this example, and I've went ahead and put a Q at the top because that will denote that we want that information just embedded in the QR label. We don't want it printed on the label itself. Now I'll paste in the genotypes, and then I'll go ahead and paste in the IDs. There are many different ways that you can do this, but this is just a simple way to create a fresh sheet with the information you want. Now what I'm doing here is creating a unique file name that I can use to query data sets to pull out information for each sample, and that's going to be a function of the site year and the ID. Now populating down, you can see that we've got site year on the left and then the entire file name on the right. In the first row, you can see the Q, 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 and HQ. Anything with a Q will be embedded in the QR code, and anything with an H will be printed on the label and human readable. Now we want to sort this sheet so we can organize by the ID, which is how we've organized the shipment, so that when we create the sheets of QR code labels, they will be printed off in that order. So now I've just sorted by the ID column. I'm going to save this using the CSV format, and now walk you through how to use the iCommands. Open a terminal window and type in ls and hit enter. This will show you where you are at. We're going to change the directory to downloads and then list. This will show us all of the files in our downloads, including our CSV file we just saved. Now we're going to use ILS to look at where we're at in the discovery environment and change to the QR folder. We can see our project folder in there. We'll change to that folder and we'll look to see what's in there. I've already gone through this, so we have the version of this file here, but we're going to use this command here to put the CSV into that folder. Once we hit enter, we can use the ILS command to look in the folder to confirm that it uploaded successfully. Once you have that file uploaded, and we can see that we have in this project folder a couple versions of that CSV file. Once you have that file uploaded, we can see it in this folder here for the project, and then click on the Phytomore Image Phenomics Toolkit. Within this toolkit, we'll want to name the analysis. So I'll call this QR Sheets 19KA for this example. This doesn't really matter because you're going to choose the file name later on. So then we'll select the output folder. I'm going to go within our lab, the QR, and then the project folder. So we're in this folder now. You can see some previous analyses I've run. So we've selected the folder there. Then what we're going to do is select the single file tools, and you can either use the drop down or you can just start typing in generate sheets of QR labels. Next, we need to select the image file. So I'll browse again into this project folder and I'll select the CSV that I've uploaded. Once we have those fields entered, we can launch the analysis. Up here we see that it's successfully launched and we can view that in the Analyses tab. So if I refresh this, you can see that it's running now, and I've already completed this. So I'll just go ahead right now and go to the output folder. Within that output folder, we have information related to the analysis, but what we're interested in is this master.doc.pdf. We want to ultimately print this PDF. So you can click on this and do a simple download, and it will download to your downloads folder. You can then move that to a thumb drive or an external drive, which you can take to the machine that's connected to the printer you want to print at. If you're already there, you can just go ahead and open up this file, and then you can print directly from this file. And we can see that the sheets are organized left to right, top to bottom, based on how we sorted that CSV file. You can play around with the CSV file to organize it in a way that is helpful for you when you are removing the labels from the sheets. And typically you'll have blank labels at the end, so just keep that in mind. If you're printing sheets for multiple projects, you could create one CSV file so that you're not wasting space at the end. But ultimately, whatever works for you is going to be best.